Tanner said he's ERT. So.
Okay, wait. We're not muted anymore, so I think
Make sure they can hear us.
Yeah, can everybody hear us here in the in City Hall?
I can hear you.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, thank you. I think we're just waiting on one. We'll probably get started here in less than 60 seconds or so.
We can get started, and then Tanner said he's on his way, so we can get started. I'll call the meeting to order at 6:01, and we'll just go around and guess who's here. I'm Shannon Knight, I'm the chair.
Holly D. Shaw, member.
Bo Janot, member.
Aaron Goodell, staff liaison.
Charlie
Charlie Anderson, member.
and Ed.
Ed Schwartz, SONA treasurer and member of the public.
And then Tanner Woody should be here in any minute, so we'll just make a note when he. All right. Ed, do you want to make a public comment here? Or do you want to wait till the discussion? Make your public comment.
Actually, if you don't mind, I'd like to go ahead and do it now. And because I thought I might have to leave the meeting early anyway, so that would work great if that's possible.
Sounds good. Go right ahead.
Okay. And I know Aaron sent out my comment to the members, but I appreciate the opportunity to present it in as close to in person as possible for me. So just a summary, I'm a current treasurer of Savannah Oaks Neighborhood Association, and I have served as president of SONA for 10 years previously. SONA's current president, Frank Carini, could not be here tonight and asked that I attend in his place. So I'm in support of allowing neighborhood associations to merge if there are no other alternatives to their going inactive. Recently, Savannah Oaks NA held officer elections as our current president and secretary are leaving their positions. Unfortunately, even after much encouragement and discussion from current board members to SONA members, no one stepped forward to volunteer to fill those positions. Therefore, SONA is in danger of going inactive starting in 2025. At SONA's November meeting, we discussed merging with Willamette Neighborhood Association. SONA President Frank Carini attended the November Willamette NA meeting to gauge their interest in merging with SONA. It's my understanding that they will place a discussion of this topic on their next meeting agenda. President Carini is working with city staff to make sure there is no prohibition to a merger of NAs. I'm not aware of any such prohibition. In 2022, several NA presidents presented a document to City Manager Williams requesting a better working relationship with the city. There was a follow-up meeting with Mr. Williams at which several topics were discussed, including merging NAs. No further action was taken, but I do not believe that Mr. Williams raised any objections to merging NAs. SONA and Willamette NA have had a long-term close working relationship and have even partnered from time to time in dealing with certain topics and events. Merging these two NAs would serve to keep all members of both NAs better informed on city projects than if SONA were to go inactive. Allowing SONA to go inactive without the option of merging with Willamette NA would do a disservice to those SONA members who have been an active part of the neighborhood association. So tonight I ask that CCI consider endorsing the merger of NAs in cases where an NA is in danger of going inactive. And thank you, and be happy to answer any questions.
And Kathy came in during that, so you want to make an announcement, so it's on the record that you're here.
Okay. Kathy Hallecky, president of the Willamette Neighborhood Association, and I'm here to answer whatever questions and to give you a little background as to how this got started. Ed did a fairly good job, but Willamette is not the only neighborhood associations, both Barrington Heights also expressed some interest in perhaps joining with Savannah Oaks, or having Savannah Oaks join with Barrington Heights, but it's one of those things that you have to take it to your members. So, you have any questions or?
I do. Lane, Tanner Woody, member of CCI, Bolton resident. Yeah, I would just love to know where you guys are currently having the conversation, because
It's exploratory.
I mean, what's been said so far.
I have a couple of questions. When we left it at the WNA meeting last 2 weeks ago, you were gonna talk to the city council and legal to see whether it was allowed or not. And have they weighed in yet?
John Williams is not back in town until December 2nd. So,
Love it.
no, we have no idea.
Okay.
There you go. I had an email exchange with CJ Cole, the NAP president. When the agenda went public, asking about this, I told him what it was. I know they had a meeting last Thursday. Was it discussed there?
Yes.
What was the outcome of that discussion?
We didn't really have an outcome because we as neighborhood presidents can't make decisions. So each of us were going to take it back to our neighborhood associations membership, ask their opinions on it, and then bring it back to the next NAT meeting, which would be in January.
And I do see that it is on the agenda for the 13th
Yes.
meeting.
So Kathy, are you gonna stay around?
Yes, I'm
We have a
there.
session so we can wait till the whole
Okay, yeah,
discussion.
I didn't want this to get to our hands,
Yeah.
just so we're not, that's fine.
I had, yeah,
How to leave.
No problem.
yeah, those are the questions I specifically for them.
Okay,
Because I have a few concerns that
well, we're gonna have a.
We're gonna have,
discussion
it's a,
on
it's
it.
on here.
Comment period.
Okay.
So I didn't want to get off agenda and having a discussion.
all right, thank
So
you.
I just wanted to make sure someone's gonna be here to answer those questions.
that's why I wanted to make sure, Kathy.
I was gonna say, you guys are like, I know 5 minutes. I know, I'm thinking, like, you guys are like
All right.
on it today.
All right, thanks. And if you are still around when we get to that discussion, we'll let you in at that point too.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So getting back to the agenda, we have approval of meeting notes. Did everyone have a chance to read the meeting notes? Skim them when they look.
I will make a motion to approve the minute notes.
And I will second that motion.
All right, so it's been approved and seconded to accept the meeting notes of 8/27/24. All in favor, just raise your hand. Charlie, you good?
So do we have a?
Yes, sorry. Yeah, hi.
Yeah, because we got Charlie and, Charlie.
Yep, so everyone,
Charlotte, who?
just Charlie. So we have a quorum just in the room.
1, 2, 3, 4. Do we need 6 or 5?
No, we need a board.
Oh, 4. Okay, thank you, thank you.
Okay, so meeting notes were approved unanimously. So then we have our annual report to city council. So we had our report from last year. And our accomplishments this year. I mean, the only thing I could think of that we accomplished this year was that letter to city council. We just did requesting a consultant to look at like the Hillsborough plan and similar types of thing for us.
I would say that we've continued outreach for waterfront Vision 43.
That's true.
I would say that we took concern of the council's change for their meeting, or not their meeting, their public minutes or whatever.
Public discussion.
Yeah, exactly. That was a little thing.
So they gave input. Anything else? Anybody?
You were exploring different options for stuff at one point, just the outreach. I know that has been quite still.
Oh, I think specifically when I had asked that meeting, it was about, are we involved in the market at all?
Yeah.
And then there is involvement there, so I made sure to stop by. They looked like they were stopping by.
Charlie, you have any accomplishments that you can think of?
Not in addition to what everyone has said already. No.
Yeah, I think. Do you have it on there? How many times we met this year?
7.
Also, Tanner Creek, that was a thing. And it's a thing, right? The rec center there. We're involved with that.
Yeah.
Megan came in. And then Luke from Public Works also sort of presented on basic community outreach that we do for, any sort of regular development that happens. I don't know who was here for that, but I think that was the week after Megan came in.
I think our challenges for 2023 are still, well, this one, maybe not, but communications with other CAGs is still a problem.
Yeah, it is.
And know that the other advisory groups are having the same issue and it's being brought up there, so at least at the UAB it was. So communications with the other,
The other groups to know what they're
Yeah.
doing, yeah.
because we do overlap in some of the
Yeah.
things that we do, but we don't communicate or,
Right, so don't have an opinion. Like I was listening to the sustainability meeting the other day and
God bless you.
they're recommendations and stuff about what, parks should be doing and stuff like that, but then they don't talk to parks to see how they feel about that. So it's one of those things that keeps continuing to come up. I think the confusion is still there.
I wonder if they're as to our purpose.
No, on the community engagement versus land use projects.
I wonder if there should be like a monthly or quarterly meeting with the chairs for the different advisors.
Yeah, and I don't know what happened, so I'll put that on here. What happened to that report? Remember we discussed that report that all the city CAGs are supposed to write a report that they give to council so they know what happened at every meeting? Like, we approved that report last year, I think. And then it hasn't been implemented yet. So if that was implemented, then we could just look at everybody else's reports.
Someone from the Parks and Rec board may have been appalled that the city councilor who was there shared what she learned with the city council during a city council meeting. So sharing those baffles me what people think that we're supposed to be communicating and sharing and why you would not share that. I agree, those should be shared with,
Yeah, because then,
so we know what everybody's doing and how we can help. I mean,
Yeah.
that's one of these goals of CCI is to help the other committees with their outreach and we're stymied by not knowing what they're doing.
A question, and this is my first year involved with this, so this may be common knowledge to all of you, but is there sort of an annual meeting where as many people from the groups that can come and there's a spokesperson for each group sort of just speaks up and says, hey, these are some of the highlights of what we've done this year. This is our goals for next year. So then there is like an idea
That's
Between the
like kind of
groups.
thing we've been asking for.
Yeah.
Okay, even annual, even like
Yeah.
beginning of the year,
Yeah.
this is what last year
We,
encompassed.
some people do get reports to council during a meeting that there could be discussion on that. So,
But I mean, between.
Between the
But-
group.
So we would know,
Yeah.
this is what this
So
group
there's something
has
we
done in this last year,
Yeah.
this is what they're wanting to do. Because again, if you want to get the community involved, you sort of, I feel like it would be important to sort of hear what those different groups have done
Right.
and are doing, so you could speak that into the community.
Because another example is sustainability. I don't know. I listen to them because they tend to be very active in what they're pushing out, but I don't always agree with them, which is why I listen to it so I can get frustrated. Because again, they were pushing out getting rid of gas blowers, for instance, but that would substantially hurt small landscape businesses. They wouldn't be able to work anymore in the city. And so that's something that they should have run by economic development that deals with helping the small businesses. And so that's why I think the cross, like,
yeah, that's a pretty big
people should not be
choice.
working independent.
Yeah.
They're
So-
very ardent in their views.
They are.
That's why I had to stop going to that one. I just was like, I can't.
So is there any possibility, like when it's saying, I mean, is there anywhere to?
Well, so
suggest
yeah, and
that,
our
or it's just
challenges-
Like, no, that's,
Yeah, so when that 24 goal setting, that next one down, that's what we can give our recommendations to city council.
yeah.
It's sort of like the neighborhood association presidents who meet every other month.
The president's
Right.
meeting, yeah.
The chairs can meet
Yeah.
every
And
3 or 4 months.
quarterly, I
Yeah.
think that would be, because it's already such a commitment.
Exactly, I agree.
Okay, so request annual meeting with other CAGs.
Plus, I think, let's just assume any of us are leaving the CCI, then that turnover always creates more time to finish out than anything else, so.
I just like the idea, of- I mean, since this whole committee here is about the community and a voice of the community, that the point of even asking for that is so that we have knowledge what different groups are doing for the community. we want to do. So we know what comes through.
That's a great point, it definitely is.
And for also for goal setting, I think we would like feedback on that, let me send to them.
It's well written.
Okay, anybody else have any other challenges or anything else they want to ask from council in their goal setting? We recommended that last year. Recommended annual meeting. Oh, well, that's with the council to discuss budget.
I think we're, I think staff and this has been very well announced for these big ticket items.
Yeah. I think maybe in the I don't know if it's necessarily our accomplishment, but I do feel like with the Highway 43 and the waterfront project that the city staff is doing a much better job of outreach to the public, so we should praise staff for that at some
Yes.
point. I don't know which thing it should go into, but their goal setting, maybe under goal setting.
Sure, the push from the CCI had something to do with reach, so here to take some credit.
Okay, so I will might have worked with you or with Darren on this report.
You can work with either of us, really. I might,
Just type something in.
if we can make some suggestions for you
Okay.
and help you. Simple bullet point like this.
Yeah.
Sure.
So we'll work on the report and then send it all to everyone to approve in case we have a meeting in December, because it'll be probably right before the holiday. So, people might be a little busy. Just remember, when you respond to it, just respond to staff, don't reply all. Right. Anything else? Charlie, anything else on that? You're good?
No, sorry, I don't have anything else right now.
Okay. All right, then we will move on to the neighborhood association. This came up at the WNA meeting that both Bo and I were at. So that's how this came to be on our agenda. We figured it was probably something that CCI should have an opinion on. If we were going to, if council was going to make a move one way or another, we should at least have an opinion on it. So you heard Ed and Kathy kind of give you the background of that. My concerns is WNA is a really big neighborhood association already. So I have concerns with merging, but I also think that all these, how many are dormant right now? Does anyone know? Four.
dormant. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so the four, so this would be 5 then? Yeah, so,
Oh, 7.
Not 11.
Oh, I thought there were 13.
Okay.
11 or 13.
Yeah,
And the 2,
so that it's almost half.
are you using
Yeah.
Safari?
Go ahead. I'm,
so yeah, so the importance, I think, of having the neighborhood associations is all these development projects have to present to the neighborhood association before, as part of their application, to deem their application complete, right?
certain ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when they're dormant, they don't have to do it at all, right?
Yeah, if
Um,
there's no active neighborhood association, then, you know, there's nobody to meet with.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all of these development projects are going without any
This
public
is
input. The ones that are have to go through that process. There's
Which
certain
is
signs, right?
probably,
I've never heard of the parent code. I
80%
set it up. The heck?
land use applications that would get, so it's not all.
Right.
Seriously?
But it's a big
Not
issue.
to get out of a child thing.
So that is my
Right.
concern on having all these dormant ones, is that we're limiting public input without them not having to have this meeting. So I think that maybe we can come up with some compromise. That's what it is.
And that's how the discussion started, because I went to their meeting and I said, please realize that if you go dormant, you give up these rights, and then this is what's going to happen. And then once that development goes in across the street from you, you're going to be horrified and jumping up and down.
So can we, those are my questions first. Why does it take for them to become active again?
The city council has to grant them to
So-
reactivate. So whatever that process is, I don't know. And it was not a question of, oh, WNA wants to grab you
No,
and put you in with us.
And I'm just asking, like, so I'm just trying to understand better. So if they want to be active,
If Sona merges with any neighborhood association, they will be merged permanently. So they would not be able to go, oh, now we have residents who will be resident,
Okay.
whatever,
so
and we want to separate. Once you merge, you're done.
I would really like to understand the current rules that are in place before we say things are broken and things are wrong, and we need to fix it and merge stuff and change things. So things that are currently in place that might work and benefit the current members, I'd like to explore those options.
Well, that in truth, they have 4 options because they have not yet been able to field a president, a vice president, or a secretary. They only have a treasurer. That's it. So if you don't have at least minimum a president and a secretary, you don't have a board.
So
That
why,
was what-
so why is the membership low at this thing? Is that something that we?
Savannah Oaks put out well, actually Frank, because he's the president, he put out a survey. And the majority of the survey said, if I'm wrong, correct me, I don't have an issue with that, but that, yes, people are interested, but we're way too busy. We don't have time to do this part over here.
So it sounds like maybe going to the neighborhood association meetings are more of a priority B or C, very low, because there's nothing that's pressing towards those residents to be active and
At particular
going
time,
at
yes.
this particular
Yes.
time. So naturally, maybe there's a solution to make things just speed up, get picked up when there is something that comes up for that neighborhood. So that
Now, the neighborhoods have to meet a minimum of once a year in order to be qualified as a neighborhood association and also to get their stipend.
Is it once or is it twice?
Well, that's the $64,000 question, because if you meet once a year, you still have to ratify your minutes. And who's going to remember what the minutes were from last year? So then that was part of the discussion as to whether you have to meet twice a year. So you meet once, and then the second meeting is just to ratify the minutes. And that proves that you met.
I think the bigger question, I think the bigger issue is that the residents do not understand what the neighborhood associations are and what their functions are and how they help the citizens. My sense is that everyone hears neighborhood association and thinks condo association or homeowners association is like, and who can blame them? I think that it's really an education that needs to happen.
So I hear that, but I still don't think that there still has to be something that.
But if there's-
grasping, right?
Yeah, but if there's no one participating,
But what participate on? You know, do we just participate on, hey, my neighbor's dog is still barking every day? And let's spend 30 minutes to talk about my neighbor's dog barking. You know, that's what a lot of these neighborhood associations turn into at times.
Interesting, because the ones I've been to, it's not.
I think, don't get me wrong, I
Specific.
love Bolton, I go to Bolton,
But
I
it's-
go to Robinwood, I love Robinwood, I think Atlantic is crushing it, I think Main Street's like. No, like, you guys, like, trust me, like, I stand by that, but at the same time, I go to Bolton. And there still is very often someone who wants to add 15 minutes to the agenda to talk about how the garbage guy is coming 5 minutes before the noise ordinance. And it's like, I don't want to sit here 15 minutes, that's gonna turn into 30 minutes to talk about a noise ordinance. So, you know, is that what, like, that's not worth my time. And is that worth the residents' time as they go? I mean, that's my 2 cents.
From
It's just- I think
Savannah
it's
Oaks,
important.
I have not noticed that. It's usually oriented towards business things at their particular meetings, because since we have worked in conjunction with each other on multiple topics, that I find them to be very business oriented also for the last 15 years.
I agree, but
So,
I still have to think that maybe the way they've been business oriented, maybe that has to have something to say about their low turn rate. You know, I can think of a lot of things that happened in the last 15 years that have been reported in Westland history that, you know, I wouldn't want to go to some of those meetings.
sure.
I would not want to be involved, and I would really just be frustrated more than the sustainability relations. You know, like, I would be very just heated, and then I would also feel like I don't have a voice, and I would feel like people speak down to me. And when there's that animosity and lack of love, I'm not gonna participate, and it's naturally gonna die. So I really have to question, is that something that we want to move into another neighborhood association?
Basically, if an association decides they want to merge, one of the reasons would be because they would continue to have their voice on any land use thing.
But that's one person who's now speaking for their whole neighborhood, right, as a member of that one thing. And so that's,
I don't want to be one person speaking for the whole neighborhood because everyone in the neighborhood is
Equal.
equal. So anybody who shows up to the meeting has the same voice as.
but how many members are there in the Savannah Oaks right now? How many residents, how many members of your residents? Like if you're resident, I should pull five.
It's a resident. If you live in a neighborhood, you are a member.
That's what I'm saying, residents.
If you
members, right?
own a business in that neighborhood, you are a member.
So how many members or residents are in Savannah Oaks neighborhood right now? Let's.
I can't speak because it's not mine.
You
Yeah.
mentioned it.
So I said like 700, but
And are you still there?
off the cuff,
Yeah, I don't remember the exact number either.
Ed might know.
Yeah.
Yes, I am, and I think it's around 1,000. We don't really have many business owners in our neighborhood who attend our meetings. We don't really have that many business owners in our neighborhood at all. So I think our total membership is about 1,000 or so.
And so if I were wanting to keep the Bolton Neighborhood Association alive, I would go and I would poll and try to find people to be involved, I guess.
He already did an outreach
I,
and got silence.
but I think that might speak to itself.
That perhaps,
No.
yes. But this was one of the options, and I wasn't saying, I want to make it clear, I wasn't saying, oh, come join Milan.
Yeah.
I was speaking in general terms of if you might be able, because who knows what the city council decides they'll let you do, but you might be able to merge with another neighborhood association and still continue to have a voice. Otherwise, when you go dormant, you have no voice. The only voice you have is as an individual, which does not necessarily carry the same weight as if you have a neighborhood association behind you.
But along those lines, if the neighborhood decides that, none of us are gonna step up to the table and take
Then,
over
yeah,
this,
then-
then we are going to forfeit our voice.
Yeah.
And that is a decision that is made as well. It's not a decision everybody likes, but no decision ever is.
And so.
And I'm not saying I'm for that either, some don't want no help, some don't get no help, but
And that's what.
Where do you draw that line?
People have said, I don't want to be involved.
I would say only maybe like 25% of them even know what the neighborhood
I would, well, still,
I would agree.
I think that
But-
those people have spoken in their own way.
Well, what I was thinking is maybe there's a workaround solution where let's say they go, this could apply to everyone, so not just Sona, but if a neighborhood association is dormant, that the resident would then just, not that they actually merge, but that the resident would have the ability to go to a certain neighborhood association, and the developer would have to go to the closest neighborhood association to present.
But that's not the code.
yeah, that would require the city.
But
change.
that's what I mean,
Yeah.
well, that's what we could discuss, because if we're gonna always have this issue where you've got,
I like your
a big
thinking.
percentage of the things dormant because they don't have the ability, then you're losing all those voices for people who might not even know that exists until the project is
And-
happening in their backyard.
And that's where we get back to the education.
Yeah.
And that these people need to know that this is who, and that you're giving this up.
Yeah.
And I think that's once people know what they're giving up, they're like, wait, I didn't intend to give that up.
So there's,
But they didn't know they were giving it up.
so there's the annual postcard. I would have done outreach for that.
Done that.
And so then again, I think if they've done these things and explored these avenues, maybe there's, something else going on. Maybe there's the other conduits, that's the other thing. We've got.
But I think it also gets back to the neighborhood association president talking about the training videos they want to make. I think this could be something that could be incorporated as part of that.
I
But
think
that's
that,
a much bigger discussion that, again, if these councils were talking together, we could be having.
yeah, I do think there's a message. There's a message that, if someone just got a postcard, what did the postcard say? Again, because people might think it's
Or
their,
the postcard just goes right.
right, or.
What do you mean I have lead in my pipes?
Right. I mean, I think again, that people think the neighborhood association is their HOA.
A lot.
Right? So I think it's whatever's going out in the mail needs to be, this is not your HOA, this is for the city, by this going dormant, you're not gonna have any right to hear about a development project happening in your neighborhood before it goes to a public hearing. I think if you laid it out, like, these are the consequences, people might be more willing to take action. I don't know.
And just to give you more history, these 5 families used to be in Willamette because Chandler is the dividing line.
Mhm.
And so they were on my side of Willamette, and they felt that they had more in common with, at that time, which was called Tanner Creek. So they went to go join Tanner Creek. It took the city council 2 years to give them the okay to go join Tanner Creek. So it's a slow moving process, and no matter what the decision is, depending on the city council, it may be a slow moving process, and it might take a couple of years, and if takes a couple of years, then they're dormant.
Yeah, it sounds like either way, we're not gonna be able to solve this before they go dormant.
Unless somebody steps up to be president secretary. And then even on a temporary basis, that was the other thing I brought forward, is somebody could do this. Let's say, okay, I'll give you guys 6 months. I'll be president for 6 months till we can come up with somebody who wants to do this full time. But you know what, I'm just trying to throw out ideas, and you know, if we could help them, that would be great, because I think the neighborhood associations need to work together and work as a unit so that we can offer help and guidance. And I basically threw it out there and said, we're not throwing you to the wolves. If you have let's say a new president, you can come to any one of the active neighborhood associations and or any of your ex-presidents, and they will walk you through the process. It's not like you're throwing the frying pan into the fire kind of a thing. So that was basically my whole spiel.
Well, since we're having this discussion, and we just did our annual report, should we put this as a topic point on there? City to have a discussion about?
I feel like we could review the existing stuff, because if there's a way to just switch key and turn it on when people want to get involved, then that should be apparent. You know, like, with like, hey, these are our bylaws, and you know, stuff's on the website, like, let's make that more accessible. We can still leave that there. There can be some kind of banner that says not active. This is what you need to do to make it active.
Yeah, I mean, I think if there's a process for them to become active again, that's not like a here, wait for council to
Yeah.
to push that, because I could see a situation where, you know, you get a pre-app, you see the pre-app, and you see the pre-app is coming to your neighborhood, and you want to be able, when that application gets put in, you know, can the neighborhood get together, someone right away within a month or two before that application hits to get that,
And coming from
people see it.
just the parents recently within the Bolton school closure, that's right down the street from me. I mean, people got together the next day.
Yeah.
You know, and then we're at the neighborhood association meetings, we're at the school district meetings, you know, we're involved. We buy our own conduit in a few ways.
But if that had been dormant, they would have nowhere to go.
No, I agree. And I mean, I definitely agree. You know, I do not want Bolton to go dormant.
I don't want any of
I would
them,
take
yeah.
up any role necessary to make sure that didn't happen. I would talk to my neighbors, and I would, you know, try to get a group of good people together to keep it alive and well. But, and that's what I think, like, what's the issue in Savannah?
And I think this 2-year dorm, asking to join another neighbor, I want to make it clear, it was not on this city council. It was probably at least 10, if not 15 years. So I want to make that completely clear.
So I do think maybe though, if there are these, I think it is harder when you're in these small neighborhoods because you have a small pool. So I do think merging maybe some of the small ones might be.
That's why I think Barrington Heights was in, because Barrington is on one side of Solamo.
Yeah.
And then Savannah is on the other side. So the two of them, that would make sense also, but it all has to do with, both of you have to get quorums. both of you have to have your membership vote on this. It's a whole process kind of a thing.
Is all of Barrington Heights HOA?
No.
Just as a, give an idea.
This
Most
guy-
of it?
I
Okay,
think he said he has either 3 or 5, something along those, so it's very small.
okay.
And it's actually just an NA. The rest of it
Well-
is HOA.
As I said, and which is probably more active again, I'm assuming.
I don't know, because it's not my job.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Although
think that
they
there's
are-
also an issue with, don't all the neighborhoods have like their own set of bylaws? and
Yes.
everything like
Yeah.
that? So there's no consistency
No,
there at all.
there's not.
And we tried to make bylaws that were consistent among all of us.
I was on that committee.
It was met with great resistance, as was the suggestion from a city staff member that perhaps we need to combine several of the neighborhood associations in, so that we would have fewer, and that was met with great resistance also. So I would just have to say that perhaps if one neighborhood association is willing to merge with another one, it's under great stress. That's all I can say.
And I can second that the council at one point was looking to merge the fewer NAs. So I don't know that it would necessarily be a problem if they're looking into it and wanting it, you know. But I can't say getting a standard bylaws is, I'd rather herd cats.
Yeah, even quorums, you know, how many do you have for a quorum? Some
Exactly.
of them have 30.
Is it a set number? Is it a percentage of your population?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're saying for the bylaws, actually, yeah.
well,
Each one is different.
in order to qualify as having a meeting. So like Parker Crest, it's a percentage of their population. She'll never get that.
They'll never.
Where
But in order to change that, you have to have a quorum.
to be able to
to
change
change
it.
it. And so you're damned
I
if
think
you
the
do and
council-
damned if you don't.
Yeah, I think the council doesn't override that one, right?
That is my understanding as
Yeah.
well, but it would need to be brought to them.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a neighborhood association actively to bring it to them, then again, you're dormant in the water.
So optimize and finesse existing neighborhood association policies. Is that a good goal?
Yeah,
Or criticize and belittle? However you like to phrase it. So, if you ever have a problem with it, bring us an opportunity. We really have an opportunity to clean the car today.
Exactly.
yeah, it's weird because, I mean, I guess technically they are separate, right, from the city, so making them all the same bylaws,
Kind of, sort of,
right,
because there are areas where we are part of the city
right.
and controlled by the city and stuff. So yes, it's a fine line at times.
I mean, I guess maybe it means taking a deep dive into
Charter.
charter and the code and stuff like that.
And change the
before we
marijuana
can-
policy while in there
We can
too.
make a good recommendation, so maybe we have to put this on another agenda where we actually look through the actual code.
I've looked through the bylaws. I have not looked through the code. I'm open to doing it.
Yeah, so, I mean, we need stuff to do, future meetings.
Oh, yeah, because I got nothing to do.
So, since we are waiting on council to approve our request, and who knows when that's gonna happen, this can be our next project if you guys want it.
I think it's something that really needs to be addressed,
Yeah.
you know, because it has been festering for a while and should be addressed. One of the first things I did when I moved here was join my NA, you know, because I knew about it. I was like, oh my God, I get to be involved in I don't understand why everybody doesn't, but then again, I sit home and watch C-SPAN, so.
I
go
mean-
figure.
It's always when something, is major is about to happen next to them, that's when people decide to get involved.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I haven't gone to my NA since the school thing, and last time I was going was related to some other issue. I mean, that's what they're there for, is when there's something to gather for. Otherwise, you're just having meetings, kick cans.
collect them so we can give them to the food pantry.
Yeah, I mean, that's, yeah, I mean, but that's the thing, you need people to be doing that and pushing that narrative already, you know, like there has to be something bigger, right? Like, let's do the Lions, and let's collect plastic, and like, hey, like, can you push, you know, for the football pickups, you can do plastic at the Lions instead, you know? stuff
And
like
again, I think that's part of that whole education. We need to
Yes.
educate our populace to let them know you have this resource. Because most of them who've lived here their whole entire life do not know it exists.
Yeah.
So the kids in Springs may also be in this situation, just to give you a heads up.
Oh, this
Is that why he's still president?
He will not be.
He told me a year and a half ago. that-
He drew the line. He said absolutely not as of February, and if they can't come up with president, they too will have to go either merge or go dormant. So it's a domino kind of thing.
It's a festering issue.
I mean, it might be a generational thing. Because you do see that the people that attend regularly are of a certain generation.
But CJ is your, excuse me, I'm old, is your generation. So,
I'm old.
no.
I turned 50 this year, so I'm not that young.
So you're still.
I'm like the young generation.
Like,
Yes.
30.
Yeah, see, I would say
It's a party every night over here.
in your,
Yeah.
aren't
So
you,
what's that?
CJ, kind of similarly aged?
Maybe, I mean, I'm weird in my own way, like, it's weird that I show up to the city council.
I
meetings.
just meant age-wise, you guys are similar,
Yeah.
similar?
Maybe,
Oh.
I mean, I identify with my great
He's
grandparents.
probably
so.
in his thirties, if I had to guess, so. But it's one of those things where he just has too much on his plate at this time. And so, and he's done it enough years that it's time for somebody else to step up. So we'll see how that goes in February. And since he said absolutely not in February, then the NAP has to come up with a new president and a new secretary, because, and that was kind of like the same response. Nobody else would step up. I'm like, really? You guys are complaining about nobody steps up and then you don't step out? So that's where it is.
And maybe the existing conduits again that have a louder voice are those ones that people use instead, right? The community page. That's very, very, very
I don't
active.
think there's been anything about that put on the community page. So that is a good point that
Yeah.
maybe they need to go recruiting. On
I don't think
Facebook.
I've seen the NA's ever mentioned on there.
On the community page? I think they are, I just don't think they block, you know, or they don't fit the algorithm well. People aren't that interested, right? And
So I think we have a communication message that we probably, as a CCI, should get out there. Like, we should come up with a mailer that explains to people what their neighborhood association is, why.
I want to pull out rock video.
should
And if it's not doing one or video.
Well, I think if we make it a project and staff would, we also can't make staff do anything.
No, we can't. I know.
But we can come up with the messaging and stuff in a meeting and then ask if it's something. that
So
staff can
like
print
you
up
just
and
said a mailer, but is it something that could be put on?
put on for all the communication
Well,
channels.
every NA gets one whole postcard to all their residents.
Right.
Now, I'm
I
not
just feel like
Every year.
that
I'm not
channel,
sure if we still have that.
Yeah, that might have taken somebody out.
I think they took that away.
They took
They
that
still
away.
get it. Bolton still gets it.
I think you can use your money,
Yes,
you can use your stipend to pay for it, but I don't think it's automatically included in it.
right.
but
They
how
got taken over by the.
a postcard, I mean, just, I think the idea of
Yeah.
putting that on.
Putting it and then putting it
And
blast
making
out
it-
to every.
And again, on top of that point, but why is it important to your, these are the communities
It has to
from
be
this
well.
areas are in danger of action, but this is why, like, these are the issues that.
And do we have an answer to that right now? Why? Why should people care about it? Because there's nothing to,
But I
right?
think online.
Because if
people-
something were to happen, then like,
Yes.
so.
How do you voice that, right? Like, you know, hey, like in case you ever have to get worried about something, be worried about this, you know? So there has to be that.
I think if you say, if you want development projects are gonna happen in your neighborhood, want to have a say in them and have no active neighborhood association.
But even just
So,
knowledge of, because
maintain your
without
knowledge.
knowledge such as you don't even get notified until they break ground across the street from you.
Yeah.
And then it's too late.
So the voice, so the neighborhood's voice is the line.
Yeah. So I think we'll put this to work on in a future meeting, coming up with a messaging.
Like your neighborhood's voice.
Yeah.
And then you highlight a neighborhood,
Yes,
like,
yeah, exactly.
no, and then.
And then ask.
And,
staff if
and,
they
and we
will-
focus on things that happened in the past. Remember when this happened and y'all were like, "Bleh, you didn't know about it? Well, if you'd gone to your WNA or your NA, you would have known.
And
You know.
that would be a great one to stick that in there.
All you people complaining about this roundabout and the construction on it, you would have known about it.
That's
from some-
Don't even start.
I have-
I'm just saying that's you guys.
I have- that's all I have.
Well,
But this lovely icon building on A Street that everyone's like, oh my God, that's so. If you come to your neighborhood association, you would have had a comment. You would have had a say in that. You know, but you didn't, and there it is. It's lovely.
It is. It is great. It's great for the downtown. This, as a business owner, it's great to have the traffic right across the street from me.
I think on your point too, you were like the generational thing. I mean, I think this community does have a lot of people that really care about the community, young families, younger people that really want to be involved. But I think, so when you're doing bullet points, why does it really apply to that younger too? Not just
It would even
talking
something,
about.
housing gets
Yeah.
involved
I
with
mean-
this. Traffic gets involved with this. There's a whole lot of things that can come forward depending on how the development works.
So why don't we ask you,
Me meaning you,
okay, Kathy, to take to maybe the NA presidents and just ask them for feedback on what they would like, what they think is important to add to this. Because I don't think we'll meet until, I think we'll probably have to cancel. I don't know. Does everybody want to meet in December? Like a week before the, or just a couple days before Christmas? What is it?
There's some school stuff going on.
I can't meet in December.
So the fourth Tuesday is Christmas Eve. So I don't think we all. So I'm gonna say we're probably gonna cancel December's meeting. But, so
January.
you'll have,
And then now allegedly
Meeting in January.
we'll meet in January. But allegedly, we're supposed to elect our officers in January. But if nobody steps up, nobody steps up. Then what happens to that? Does that go to, anyway? So you would like me to discuss what criteria?
what things they think are important to add to this marketing campaign of why it's important to be involved in your neighborhood association.
The
Or
benefit. of
What
having-
is a neighborhood association and why is it important to you?
Such a great essay. I love that.
I want to make one of those signs so we used to watch in school that this is your neighborhood
If we
association.
involved all the other CAGs, we could get the youth advisory council to.
Yeah, we could do this.
Right,
all
that-
the time. What are CAGs and why do they matter to you?
To add to mailer. I'll get this to CJ since he will still be putting together the agenda and hopefully at least conducting the meeting until we get everything worked out.
Good, and then can add this to our agenda for January.
Then I'll put return to
That's efficient.
CCI so
Yeah.
that you guys know came up with.
We figured anyway. So what was that?
Return to CCI.
That with whatever NAP comes up with, then I would return to CCI and give you what our comments are.
Or
Yep,
we
or you
could-
can just email it, whatever. You can come in person, we love to see you.
On suggestions and decisions. we make decisions. And that's something that we have difficulty with, is often we will be asked to make a decision and NAP is not allowed to make decisions. We can only take it back to our membership and ask their opinion and then bring it back and discuss it. And it's really each individual NA that makes the decision. It's not the NAP presidents themselves, which a lot of people are confused with.
We already have this on the agenda for WNA.
Yeah.
Yes, it could be
So you
December 11th.
I can just add a discussion around what everyone thinks, why they ask people why they come to the meeting, what makes them want to come.
That was my first joke, I think.
Baked goods.
Yeah.
Kathy, maybe that's why we got good attendance, because Kathy always brings baked goods.
That's nice. I mean, I think I asked someone like, point blank, are you showing up for the like free ice cream sandwiches that they're giving away? And they're like, I was like, why ice cream sandwiches? Like, exactly. There's nothing. There's like, but I mean, there is reason to show up, but there's not like, there's not anything.
Unfortunately, speaking from Willamette, we always have something going on. It's never just chill. So,
We got to do, we got
Which is
to.
my only concern with, do we need any more?
well, and I made it quite clear at their meeting, which hopefully is in their minutes, that should they decide they would really like to join and it goes through, some of their wishes may be at the bottom of our to-do list because we have what WNA feels more pressing issues at the top of our list. So that is an issue too, when you join with another neighborhood association, your wants and wishes are not exactly the same.
I also think that having voting rights and not being in the town seems like I would like to have voting rights in Willamette. Like, should I not have my NA so I can go to Willamette and have voting rights instead?
I don't necessarily know that it actually works that way, since we live far enough away where we have boundaries in common.
Yeah,
So
but I mean, that's my idea too. It's like, is there an incentive then after to ever have the boundaries? Because I would love to have my voice heard in Willamette.
At the point where it's
Well,
like,
you could come and we'll listen to you.
yeah, let's listen.
Thanks. But I wouldn't be able to vote. I wouldn't make a motion, people would be like, you can't make a motion.
That's correct, but you can give us your expertise.
Yeah.
You can convince everyone to vote how you want and
Oh,
then
yeah.
they'll use your vote.
If the rest of the membership is in agreement with you, there's no reason why we can't make it some kind of motion. So, and we're always open to that.
Okay.
Unless I have laryngitis, and that's a different story.
And for January, can you include any relevant code or charter or whatever
Is that nice?
for the meetings?
Okay.
And that's
Yeah, it's just a section of the code.
you know what section that is?
No, I don't have it in my head,
Don't
no.
worry about it. I'll find
The
it.
charter's really accessible, so.
It's on the app.
Is it really?
I believe so.
I don't use the app.
Charlie, do you have anything else to add? We forget about you out there.
Yep.
Oh, Mary's here. We didn't see Mary. Hi, Mary.
Yeah, sorry I was late. There was a little car trouble in the family and I was the only one who could pick them up, so. But I'm here if anybody has any questions for me.
Do you know, have you been talked to about this merger yet?
She's the one who told us to take it to the city council.
But has city council been officially informed about the merger and have an opinion on it?
Actually, potential. It's not a fact.
We haven't had a meeting since we learned about it, so no.
Okay.
But we certainly, I think there's several aspects of neighborhood associations that we need to discuss. So I think this is definitely one of them.
Okay, and are you okay with CCI kind of taking this on as a, looking at as a outreach project to make people understand what a neighborhood association is and why they should go?
I think that probably at our first meeting, next meeting, we'll talk about that. So I think council as a whole is tasked with that sort of an assignment or not. So I'm not speaking for everyone. So
I just mean like if we go through this whole process and come up with like a, you know, a postcard or a flyer or whatever.
it might be a little previous to go through and come up with a whole flyer, just because I don't know what is going to be the recommended next step. It might be something else, but until we can meet and talk about it, I'm
Well,
not sure what it is.
it's more not about the merger. It's just why neighborhood associations are important. Just an
Right.
education piece on like,
Okay.
it's not an HOA. These are, if you don't.
Yes,
have
I
an-
understand.
Okay.
Yeah. So I do understand what you're asking. I do think that since, like I said, there's some other aspects of neighborhood associations, roles and responsibilities, for instance, communication. So there's other aspects in addition to this reality of basically losing membership that council should discuss. So I'm not sure what I meant to say is I don't know if like creating a whole marketing tool around educating the public, the community about NAs might be a little bit previous until we've had this discussion. That's all.
Okay.
Excuse me, I have something in my eye. But we should definitely talk about this because it's a matter of some urgency. I understand.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like this is something that probably been needed to be looked at for a long time, but hasn't been. If you have like you, I don't know where you came into the discussion, but if you have like about to have 6 dormant neighborhood associations and you only have like 11 total, you're talking like half the neighborhood associations being dormant.
Yes, it does appear that people are not getting involved. So we need to talk about how to encourage that. You're right. I think it's
That
important.
also must mean that we're doing a good job.
Pardon me?
I said that also might mean that we're doing a good job. So it's like no noise is good noise kind of thing.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that.
There's a lot of noise out there today. So I want to make less noise personally.
Okay. Charlie, did you have anything?
No, this has been fascinating, actually. I've never been part of a neighborhood association. So it's just really, I'm learning a lot, and it's super dynamic, obviously. So I'm here to help how I can, but I don't have much input, unfortunately.
Where do you live?
We're towards Head Park, like south of Pete's Mountain. It's unincorporated, so it's kind of far out, but there are homeowners associations here, but not neighborhood. And I know there's a difference. I don't know what exactly it is, but yeah.
All right. So we will just move on in the agenda. So we have CCI announcements. Anybody have anything they wanted to?
My daughter came early.
Oh,
So she's,
cute.
that's been fun. It's so,
You're not sleeping?
no, but, Betsy, that's my wife, her grandma died yesterday, so she took the baby to Indiana today. So I'm pretty
Oh,
excited. I've done so much stuff, guys. I mean, that's why I'm really, well then, I was digging, it's been great.
Okay, and staff, does he have any announcements?
No staff announcements. I know the tree lighting is, I think it's Friday. That's it. Yeah. Yep, that's it.
I think there's one in Willamette too on the 14th.
That's great.
Parade.
Yeah.
It's always the day of the parade. And there's the parade. It's the Christmas parade. The night parade again, right? think.
Yesterday, or last year was a night parade, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's a night.
Yeah, this is the second night parade.
Okay.
I mean, for Christmas.
I mean, I'll be in the parade, so I'll wave to them. Okay, so if there's nothing else, we will adjourn at 7:05.
Thank you. Have a great evening and happy Thanksgiving and I guess Merry Christmas at this point, or happy holidays, I should say.
Thanks, Charlie.
And then
Okay.
here.
Okay. Yeah, New Year. Okay. See you guys soon. Bye.
Good night.
Jeff and Vicki, sorry.